Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is July 20th, and we're going to be doing a reading today. We're going to look at the cards and see what they would like to tell us about the week going forward. Before we do that, I just want to take a couple moments and pass on some insights or some guidance that I received over the course of the last couple of days, because frankly, the course of the last couple of days have been unbelievably filled with a whole lot of stuff. Frankly, in some ways, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So these are kind of the current messages I have. Join me for a moment, please, in just sending our love, appreciation to John Lewis. Okay. And we, of course, are going to send our light and love to his family, his friends, close associates, etc. When I heard that John Lewis had passed, I received a very clear message. And the message was this: Elijah Cummings and John Lewis are now connected again, and they are moving forward with the mission that they fought all of this, past life that they had. They're saying, this is the thing, right? The bodies got old, the bodies grew weary, and we are in spirit form powerful and strong, and we will continue to fight the fight and move things forward in a more positive and inclusive way from this side of the veil. So as of right now, as far as what I've been told, he is doing fine. The two of them are back together, continuing with their work going forward. Okay, so that's that one. As far as RBG, she is going to be okay from what I have been told. She is just absolutely rock solid, determined to stay in place until it's safe for her to leave. So again, send her prayers, surround her with healing lights. Whatever you can do or contribute, send it to her so that we can surround her in protection and strength. For those of you who perhaps do not view my Insights channel, or perhaps do not view the Soulprint Positive Energy Circles that come out every Sunday, the one that was released yesterday was about comfort and encouragement to those who are working so hard to, to kind of keep things sane, if you will. Now, that was predominantly focused on the COVID, but it applies to anyone. So if you haven't done that energy circle and you would like to, please feel free to look up that video and revisit it. And the third thing, and I will be looking at this in some detail, we'll see how that unrolls. But as far as the whole Portland, Oregon thing, this is the message that I received. This is the 2020 caravan story. Okay, so in 2018, it was the whole thing, the caravan's coming, they're going to take over the world. And he built this thing up into this huge, huge deal. And that's exactly the gameplay that they're trying right now with Portland, Oregon. I do not know who those people are in those sort of unidentified, if you will, uniforms and cars that I wouldn't even say they're unmarked police cars. I would say they don't even look like police cars. They look like something that got rented at the airport. Because police cars sort of, even unmarked ones, they have stuff, right? They have lights that come on the roof. They have all kinds. This didn't look like that. So this is about Trump trying to create a narrative where, we're going to lose the country. We're going to lose Portland. We have to get these, horrible, horrible, I think he calls them Antichrist, off of the streets because they're going to destroy America. So again, Caravan 2018, Portland, Oregon 2020, because really, that's what he knows, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the week going forward. So the week starting July 19th. Let's see what's going on both in politics and in Trump land, shall we? Come on down, I have a question. Okay, here we go. One more quick shuffle. Okay. Trump politics this week. Trump politics this week. Trump politics this week. All right, well, let's start off with on a sunny, bright note, shall we? All right. So, I believe I said, sometimes maybe last week, that the week before that had been really tough for Trump. And the week following the week we were in last week, it would get really difficult and stressful again and hard for Trump. And last week was supposed to be sort of the calm week in comparison, all three of them, right? Well, so it actually is going to prove to be the calm week, as horrible and as busy and as crazy as it was. So it's looking like going forward, this week is going to present some really unique challenges, not only to Trump, but to his administration, to the White House, to sort of the push forward to get things under control. And this is the situation. Okay, you've got COVID just escalating crazy, crazy, crazy out of control. And state by state by state, those who weren't are now mandating those, face masks out in public, face masks inside stores and things like that, where you can't maybe social distance by 6 feet. So that unfortunate trajectory of COVID, unfortunately, is going to continue to rise and spiral out of control. But what you're seeing is, as more senators and mayors, etc., start really pushing forward to bring their own areas right under control, you're going to see more and more pushback against the nonsense coming out of Trump's mouth, out of Pence's mouth, out of a bunch of mouths. It was interesting. I saw an article, just a slight digression. I saw an article just a couple days ago that talked about, since Dr. Bricks, the woman, with the scarves, has sort of so aligned herself with the Trump, kind of view of things, or she spends a lot of time trying to sugarcoat it and soften it. Apparently, they're saying that among her peers, she is really, really losing some reputation and some ground. And again, that is what happens when you align yourself with Trump. You ultimately end up paying the price with either, your reputation or your career, whatever it is. So just that's an interesting sort of aside, that even though Dr. Brooks is out there, it doesn't feel anymore that she's quite fighting the fight. She apparently was one of the people that were instrumental in encouraging hospitals to not report their numbers to the CDC, but straight to the White House. I mean, come on, that's a little bogus. Is anybody then going to believe the numbers that come out of the White House? But as this pandemic continues to grow, more and more of kind of the shady dealings, the backroom deals, are going to come forward. So coming this week, you can anticipate hearing more stuff that the White House has done to try to hide stuff, shove stuff around the corner, sweep it under the rug, whatever phrase you want to use. So that, again, is not going to bode well, because you're going to see that Trump's fortunes are going to continue to reverse. Not that he had so many good ones lately, but there we have it. And as that continues to happen, you're going to see more, unfortunately, and almost unbelievably, more juvenile and lashing out kind of behavior from him. Okay, he is not going, he can't find a way to push back against Biden. He can't get people believing his story about the pandemic. And he just, is at a loss. And so what happens is more bad news comes out, and more and more people actually do things like read Mary Trump's book and really start focusing and paying attention. And it's his behavior is going to become worse and more juvenile. He's going to be doing a lot of yakking, but he's not going to be saying anything, frankly, that even makes any logical or coherent sense. I mean, this is a man who stood in the Rose Garden last week and was talking about taps and water and plumbing. And what the hell is that? Come on, like, what is that? So, foundationally right here, looking like we're going to be in for a bit of a rough week ahead. He is also going to, looks like, receive a little bit bad news from other countries. So, whether he is going to face some more comments from leaders of other countries, whether in other countries the numbers, not all, but some of them, like, really continue to drop, and those countries are getting like a good strong hold on what's going on with their pandemics. He's going to face some more criticism from outside of his own country. So that also should be really, really interesting to watch and see what's going on there. Okay, so there's going to be movement forward. And, this is the thing. It very much looks like the movement forward is going to be against him. And again, whether this comes from his administration, whether this comes from mayors and governors, Democrats, independents, but there's going to be continually more push. People are going to continue to get really, really upset about the fact that information is not coming through the way it should be. It's being sort of minimized. It's being, shaded. The numbers aren't right. And he's going to continue to try to do this, reaping the benefits or trying to claim that he's winning and this is a brilliant success and on and on. And I mean, this of course accounts for the fact that, Ivanka Trump, in all of her brilliant wisdom last week, was not only promoting those Goya products. She looked like a, I don't know, a model on The Price is Right or some darn thing. I don't know what that was about. I'm not even going to talk about Trump and the Resolute desk and all the Goya products. That's beyond appalling. But you also have Ivanka coming out with a sort of a platform to get people working again that was literally, well, just find something else, find something new to do. And if you haven't seen the Lincoln Project sort of commercial on that, you're going to want to look it up because it's really pretty entertaining. So let's anticipate a little bit more pushback from people. Simply, it feels energetically like as we move into this weekend, as we move towards August, you're going to get, it's like a sense that people have really had it. Texas, oh my God, Texas, 75 positive coronavirus tests on 75 children under 1. It's heartbreaking, and frankly, it's breathtaking because you just really cannot even believe what you witness. But it feels like energetically the pushback is going to start really intensifying. And whether that is people nagging at people in government, whether that is peaceful protests, I'm not quite sure, but it feels like people have hit sort of saturation point with the crap. And they are starting to really want and demand answers. And people like Kemp and the others who are still trying to play ball with Trump are really going to start witnessing some significant pushback against their behavior, because they are flat out jeopardizing the lives of the very people who voted them in. And so, and anticipate their behavior being, it's not childlike in this case, but it is like naive, foolish, juvenile, unsophisticated, incredibly uneducated. Okay. And people are had enough. They're saying enough with the secrets, enough with not supplying what our frontline workers, what we need, what the teachers need. Enough is enough. We are going to start pushing back. That's the energy. Now, whether it specifically happens in the next like 7 days or it takes a little while longer, but there's definitely sort of this energy that's starting to ramp up that definitely is about really, really moving past the place that the country is in terms of COVID for sure. And everything that's being kept secret and quiet. So that's going to be part of what you're going to see. The numbers are going to continue to be really bad for Trump. Some polls, I would say on average, it's 10 to 15 points separating Trump and Biden. So listen, people are going to start making comparisons. Well, Clinton was ahead of Trump at this time in 2016, and look where that got us. Listen, there's a really big difference between Clinton being ahead of Trump by 5 points when, right or wrong, she really was sort of just generically disliked by a lot of people, or there was a discomfort with her becoming president, okay? And for whatever, whether it's because, of Bill Clinton, whether it was because of her gender, whatever it was, there was some real pushback. 5% or 5 points above about Trump this time in 2016 absolutely does not equate to 15 points ahead. Sorry about that. Okay, so there's a big difference between 15 points ahead for Biden versus 5 for Clinton 4 years ago. So I really need, everybody to kind of remember that and stay in a strong place. Stay in a place where you're not sort of being, your emotions aren't being kind of blown around like leaves in the wind every time you hear something that even might potentially favor Trump. Okay. Everybody is a little shell-shocked as a result of the 2016 election, but please work very hard at not giving more power, because this is the thing. The bigger the gap, that's right, you're always going to have somebody on the news trying to balance that with, don't get your hopes up too high, don't this, don't that. That's all really valid, okay? Because without really hard work going forward, this is, it puts everything in a much more slippery position, if you will. But as of right now, the feelings going forward are very strong. And so expect more bad poll numbers, expect more. I don't know. I almost want to say you're going to hear of people or maybe supporters, donors. I'm not sure, but it feels as if he's going to lose a couple of more really maybe significant either donors or supporters, perhaps even endorsements, but it's going to continue to be really, really rough. And this is the thing, right? Trump does not have a couple things. He doesn't know how to process what few emotions he has, and so he gets anxious and he gets, anxiety ridden, and he starts lashing out. Trust me, that's going on like crazy, okay? But he more and more information is coming out, particularly with Mary Trump's book, that is really giving a lot of people a great deal more clarity about exactly how damaged this man is. And because of the fact that he is as damaged as he is, that also shines a brighter light on exactly how dangerous he is. So going forward, this looks like it's kind of going to be a bit of a tough week. Biden's going to have some more successes. I'm not sure in what area. He continues to roll out plans, and all of the successes, all of the adoration that Trump wants he's not getting it. It's going to be redirected back into a situation where governments behaved like governments. And of course, that spells Biden. It certainly doesn't spell Trump. People want the White House, their politics, they want it returned to some semblance of sanity. It's not that people aren't looking for change. Lots and lots of people who are going to vote for Biden this year are looking for change because right now, frankly, they figured out exactly how broken the system is. So people are really gravitating towards, they want somebody to step in who is calm, who is intelligent, who actually has political savvy and experience. They want someone to step in who is capable of bringing back strength to the White House. And as every day goes by, more and more people are waking up to the fact that that is not Trump. I mean, I don't know if you saw the polls, right? 50% of voters, 50% have said there is absolutely no way ever they are going to vote for Trump. What does that tell you about what the election looks like as we move forward? 50% of people adamantly say no way in heck they would vote for Trump in July. Can you imagine what that number is going to look like by the end of September, the middle of October? Judgment is literally raining down, and it is not raining down in a way that is helpful to him, to Trump, to his campaign, to his reelection, to his administration, to any of it. And this is the thing, right? He continues to treat his presidency and the White House as a cash cow. And so there's a lot of that going on. He's completely hyper-focused on his money, his companies, his reputation. That's where his attention is. In some ways, he actually feels like he's done enough. His heart isn't in it going forward. I can tell you that. His heart isn't in it, but his ego is. And so because, from what I can certainly gather, Trump doesn't actually pay any attention to what portions of his heart actually are still working and functioning, because he certainly doesn't have love, empathy, compassion, any of that stuff going on, but he must have some stuff floating around in that heart. But he doesn't listen to that, whatever it might be. He is completely driven by ego. And so he continues to push forward in a way that makes everybody around him crazy because they cannot get him to settle down and actually run a campaign. And he can fire the Brad Pascals 1,000 more times between now and November. It's not going to do him any good. It simply makes it look what exactly it is, which is the campaign is falling apart. They don't have a clear direction. They can't get Trump focused. And so things are just going to get worse, people. As far as he is concerned, I just really, really do not want you believing sort of the nonsense. There's a difference between listening to both sides and sort of being clear-eyed and recognizing the pitfalls on both sides of the equation. It is a very different thing to get really stressed out and agitated because, again, you're amplifying that sort of energy that attracts itself. And that's not what we want. You got to remember, I'm going to keep nagging about this. Your attention is not on removing Trump. Your attention is on getting Biden into the White House as president. Okay. So instead of reacting negatively, if, somebody tries to make some ridiculous comparison and say, well, potentially he could still do it. Nobody can figure out how he could do it. It's almost impossible for him to do it given the numbers he's at right now. Instead of that, I want you to focus on, oh my God, look, Joe Biden is 15 points ahead. Oh my God, look at, did you see that plan he laid out about infrastructure and getting people back to work and healthcare? That's where your focus needs to be. Okay? Keep it there. Okay, yeah, okay. Because of his behavior, because of his attitudes, because of the way he thinks, because of what he does, he is going to be walking away in disappointment, and there goes his dream. It's gone. It's shattered. It is no more. All right. Oh, last card. And Joe Biden, of course, is right up there. Going to be causing him more grief. Okay. So it looks like this week overall is just going to be a little bit topsy-turvy. It looks like there's going to be some emotions going on there, more bad news. I can't even imagine what insane and disrespectful thing Trump wants to talk about in the Rose Garden this week. I don't know. Last week it was plumbing. Who knows what it could be this week? In fact, one is almost a little frightened to think about it now. So a couple of things. So I'm going to just tuck my cards away because here comes the pendulum. So this was really interesting. I don't know how many of you know who I think it's Charlie Cook. He is sort of considered the guru of gurus when it comes to understanding how elections are going, making predictions, seeing the trends, etc. And he puts out something called I think it's a Cook report, I think is what it's called. But what it is basically, it's a map of the United States, and it shows the different states and kind of what color they are. Okay, so red, pink, I guess purple, then light blue, and then blue, right? I think that's the spectrum he uses. So this is really interesting. I saw him the other day, and he was saying, are you ready for this? Alaska, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, Montana, South Carolina, Utah. As of right now, in July yet, they have gone from ruby red to likely red. Well, if they're likely red in the middle of July, how much more do you think that swing is going to take place once they hit the end of August? Because again, these are the states that were following, Trump and his nonsense, and people are suffering, and he's losing a tremendous amount of ground. And so that is really positive news, frankly, especially for those of you who live in any of those states. It's starting to look like the pushback is gaining some real momentum, and that the work to sort of break the Republican hold is really starting to have an impact. So that's like amazing. One more little thing for those of you who heard that Chuck Woolery guy, who was that game show host, who went off last week about how everybody's lying to you and the numbers are wrong and the information, yak, big long text supporting Trump, his son has tested positive for COVID. Now, again, this is no reason to take joy or happiness, but it just goes to show you that those who are so immersed in the Trump propaganda, honestly, they don't even think and see what's exactly in front of them until it literally jumps up and slaps them in the face. So now, I have a couple more quick ones that we're going to take a look at in terms of the pendulum. Okay, so this is the thing. I caution you, right? This is early days yet. So if something is looking like it could be purple now, you never know. It could be flat out blue by the time we get to the end of October. But these are sort of how the situation looks and reads as of right now. For those of you who might be new to this channel or have never seen this pendulum work, this pendulum and I have a very tight connection. So right now, as you see it, it's going back and forth. No, sorry, it's going side to side. That's telling you that this pendulum is cleared and it is ready to start answering questions. Pendulum, please show everybody yes. And as you can see, the pendulum goes back and forth for yes. And pendulum, show me no. And you can see how just literally midstream, it will shift into a round and round motion to indicate no. So here's a few of them that I want to take a look at. And I think some of these, I think we really are going to ask, because before I was sort of asking, is it going to go blue? And I think maybe we're going to look at is it likely to go blue or purple? So let's start with Wyoming. Does the state of Wyoming have the potential to go purple or blue in this upcoming election? All right, so perhaps it may just shift off that really strong red. As of right now, it looks like that could be part of what's going on. Colorado, how's Colorado looking? Is that likely to go purple or red, purple or blue? And that's another yes. Interesting. Idaho. Is Idaho at this point looking like it may potentially go purple or red? That's getting a no. Okay. Missouri. Could Missouri go purple or blue? And that's another very clear yes. Is it possible for Texas to go purple? Yes. That's kind of exciting news. Pennsylvania. Is the state of Pennsylvania likely to go purple or blue or stay those colors? Is Pennsylvania. Here we go. That's a strong yes. So purple, blue, perhaps it strengthens its position. That's sort of the energy I'm getting, right? Like if your state is purple, you're going to see them shifting into that blue category. If your state is red, you're going to see them shifting to purple. And some that are blue are simply going to, obviously stay blue. And frankly, there's going to be some that are red that are going to stay red. Arizona, how's Arizona looking? Is Arizona likely to go blue or purple? Okay. Now, when the pendulum does this kind of thing, you can see it's just sort of moving really slowly. It's kind of going in circles. Just watch. It's kind of going to go up and down and back and forth. And that means that it's really at this moment energetically up in the air. Kentucky. Is Kentucky likely to go purple or blue? That is a strong and powerful yes. While we're at it, is Moscow Mitch going to retain his Senate seat? Strong no. Okay. And let's just check with, let's do Indiana. Is that likely to go purple or red? Purple or blue for Indiana. Yes or no? It's a nice strong yes there. And let's also look at South Carolina. Purple or blue? Is that change possible? Yes, indeedy. It sure looks like it is. That's a strong yes. And while I have this out, somebody asked me a really interesting question, and I wanted to take a look at it. Somebody asked me if Puerto Rico, under a new president, might be likely to be, I'm not sure if it's called granted or given, statehood. So let's just ask that because that's kind of cool, right? Tell me about Puerto Rico. Is Puerto Rico going forward at some point likely to become a state of the United States? That's a really strong yes. Okay. Is that something that there is going to be strong movement towards with the next Democratic administration and president? And that's a really strong yes. So for the poor, poor people of Puerto Rico who have been dealt such a horrendous blow by this president, that's good news. Oh, one more. So somebody pointed out that I tend to ask things like, is Biden going to win the presidency? And the question, they would like the question rephrased, and it's a really good rephrase, a way to rephrase it was, is Biden going to be president in the White House? Is Biden going to be in the White House as president? Again, a really strong yes, a really strong yes. And for those of you who have been watching me for a long time, you know that I have been talking about Biden being in the White House as president as of the 2020 election, literally since February of what year are we in? 18. I have been talking. Before Biden was a blimp on anybody's radar, frankly, I was saying Biden's going to be in as the next president. He's going to be a one-term president, I believe. And the vice president is then sort of a shoo-in going forward into the presidency. I've received no indication that is still not accurate. And so hopefully that also brings you a little bit of comfort, calmness, and clarity. All right. Thank you so much for being here. The new subscribers, thank you so much. The established ones, as always, my heart. And take care, be well, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.